Hey, welcome to Think Engage Thrive tonight. We've got a great show for you. Coming all the way from Australia is Jason Tan. And Jason is the founder of Engage AI, another AI platform. I don't think we can get enough of AI right now. Obviously, everybody is hearing, reading, seeing news stories about AI. It's going to change the world. It's going to take jobs. It's going to do all these different things. But that's why I keep having people on that have created things with AI, because I think people need to understand, and entrepreneurs need to understand that what AI is being used for and how it's being used. And Jason, his product is touted as a second brain for business to business and small to medium sized business owners, because it captures conversational data. It's a little bit more than I understand. Well, Jason will explain it to us all. But he's growing the business. It's interesting. He's got an interesting background, and again, he's all the way in Australia. So he was kind enough to come on. It's early in the morning there. Well, I guess it's not that early. It's 8 a.m. So, but again, talking about AI. We'll hear from him what it does. Um, so let's bring him in and let's talk to him about what he's doing. And hi, Jason. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you so much, Phil, for having me. Look forward to this conversation.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. Jason, before we get into Engage AI, let's go a little bit back to your history, what you've done. Just give people a brief overview of maybe some other entrepreneurial efforts you've done, things like that, so they understand a little bit about who Jason Tan is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I started my career in the big corporate, like many people, but I started in insurance company. So back then, I actually worked with the actuaries to build algorithm pricing system for general insurance. So that is where actually a lot of I pick up a lot of my data engineering skill, the AI skill. Back then, we built the pricing to the extent, like for example, we would have bots to go out to get the competitor price. We when it come back, we reverse engineer and then we incorporate that into the insurance price for the customer, so that we can remain competitive or not leaving so much money on the table as well. So I did that for about 5 years. Like many other people or like many other entrepreneurs, we thought that, well, we have done that for the big corporate long enough. Perhaps it's time to go out and test our skill set. So, which I did. So I went out, do a bit of contracting everywhere, working for other banks, working for other uh, insurance company, and then in between I start a few other interesting businesses which never quite work out. But I think the hard lesson that I learned from those failed businesses is that technical skill, i.e. the things that I am good at, whether I am a AI developer or I am an accountant or a finance guy, those hard skill set a lot of time is not enough to build a business. But rather, beyond that, those technical skill,
Yeah.
I need to go out and market myself. I need to do the selling. I need to sell the services. I need to convince people that why I am worthy of their time, and especially to the strangers, right? So you could imagine that as well, it was a hard truth, a pill to swallow in. Equally, it was challenging for me as well because I am your typical engineer who was like, you know what, Phil, I think you should focus on the sales. You go and talk to the people and then leave me alone. Let me just see the screen, work on the system and solve the problem, all of these technical problems. So I was a typical engineer, just put his head down, never want to talk to people. And that was probably one of the biggest challenges that I had. And then towards the end, after a few of the field venture, eventually I went back to my trade again, which is data analytics and AI, and I started doing the B2B consulting So I provide the data and AI consulting to other businesses, and it's called DDA Lab. So again, I was providing the consulting services to other enterprise. But this time, rather than trying to tell people how smart I am, I focus on selling and also building relationship with people. Man, I can tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy. That was a lot of lesson learned, and ultimately, I think I started to pick that up, and I also started to write more. I started a podcast. I started to learn how to speak. I started to learn how to do public speaking. I started to learn how to build relationship with people. I even started to try to become a LinkedIn influencer. All of those things that eventually led me to build Engage AI. And that very one thing was that what I found to be really useful in capturing the attention of people is what makes the Engage AI it is now. So I'm not going into talking about Engage AI so soon, but yeah, that is really very much about
Yeah,
background.
it's funny because my background is all marketing and consumers and B2B. And we have an agency now, but I've done my own startups. And one thing that I learned is you don't have a business if you can't sell the product. And
Exactly.
so, and I've seen many companies and many people start businesses, and they were under the impression that, okay, I built this great product and people are just going to buy it, but they're not.
Mm,
It's not the way it works. We were working for a period of time with a prototyping company downtown in Baltimore, and we we came across many people who developed physical products, and they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars developing their physical product, but left no money for marketing. And they think we're just going to put up a website and people are going to buy it and they'll hear about it because we'll do some social media posts. And that's just not the way
exactly.
it works. It's not the way it works.
It is not the way it works, and that is exactly what happened to me as well. And I think not only just the people who build the product, whether it's a physical product or digital product, I think a lot of the people who provide the professional services equally fall into the same trap where they have a really good reputation within their company, maybe even to the extent in their industry that they are known to be able to build those things successfully. So they started their own company providing the professional services in doing a lot of those things. I have seen a lot of those people. As soon as they exhausted their own network, they equally found themselves falling into the same problem, same trap as well. Do you
Sure,
do you agree? Do you see that? Yeah.
sure. I think to me, any product, I don't care whether it's a physical product or a digital product, any product needs to have marketing behind it. It needs to have a
Totally.
brand, it needs to have messaging, and it needs to have a platform by which you can talk to the end user, whether that end user is a business, whether that end user is a person, however it is. And again, I don't care. I've seen, I've seen people go out and start their own businesses, and then they can't market their own businesses, and they came from a marketing background. So you have to. We've talked about this many times on this show. When you develop something, you develop a product, whether it's physical or digital, you have to find, before you know if you have a business, you have to find people who are going to buy that product. You have to find a customer for your product, and then you'll know if you have that. If you have a product, you'll know if you have a business.
Totally. Totally. Can I just put one example as a
Sure,
reminder for everyone who is watching this? Apple. Is it not one of the greatest brand in the world?
sure,
Is it not one of the biggest and the most well-known brand in the world?
sure.
Is it also not having the best mobile phone, smartphone in the world?
I think so.
They're still spending $1 billion advertising around the world.
Sure.
And if Apple so big, so good, are still spending $1 billion in advertising and marketing, who are we to think that we do not need marketing?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. It's all about staying for Apple. It's all about staying relevant and staying in front of the customer, and they're constantly innovating, and they're constantly coming out with new products that appeal to their core customer, whether it's the phone, whether it's a MacBook, whether it's a Mac, whatever it is. And they're very good, in my opinion. I think Apple is very good at integrating everything together, a closed system. And I like that because it has less vulnerability to hackers and to phishing and all types of problems.
Totally.
Yeah. So now tell us what does engage. Well, give it to before we even get there. I want to talk about AI in general, just in general terms, because we've had a couple of people on that are doing some things with AI. Somebody is building a book with AI. Somebody else is doing data or creating videos with AI. But in your opinion, let's talk about what is AI from your perspective. What is it? What does it do? How do people use it? Where do you see it going in the future? Because we read all these stories about how AI is going to take over. It's going to kill jobs. People are going to be out of work. All that stuff.
Well, I probably would even start with the work that we did over a decade ago within the insurance company, which is the algorithm pricing, right? So within that, there are a couple of things already that we did was consider AI. Although I never really liked to use the word AI back then, and I think AI was not even an attractive word to term to use. So AI basically means that it is the computer program that is able to do all the things that human can do. So for example, when we were trying to understand how much the competitor were charging, initially we actually just hire a bunch of backpackers sitting in front of the computer, go to the competitor website, and then getting insurance code one at a time, and continue to change the rating factor, i.e. one of the questions that the insurance company would ask, and then get another price, and then we can reverse engineer of that. So that was completely done by human. And then later on, we figure out that, well, it's a bit expensive to have the human doing that. And also sometimes it can be a bit of inconsistent, and we human make error as well. And we figure out that, well, why don't we write the program to do all of those things? And that was like, 18 years ago, 18 or 17 years ago. So that itself, I would say, is AI already. What has been really, really popular because of ChatGPT, because of the OpenAI, is the generative AI. So generative AI is a little bit more special in a way that it basically means that it uses the program to be able to process a very large data set. It will be able to detect pattern. And then even better is it will be able to create new works of text, video, or computer codes, whatever that is that it's capable of, based on the instruction that is given to this program. So effectively, it's like you can tell it by just using word, and then it will go on to provide you this text or images or video. That is generative AI.
Right.
Largely, it's still part of AI, and I think because of the generative AI, people talk a lot more about AI as well.
Yeah. Yeah, in our business, we use it. We use it to generate content. We use it to generate some videos. We use it in different ways, chatbots, and all kinds of ways. We've been using it for a long time, and I personally love it. I don't do it. I don't know what you're um, using it for, but that's what we're going to get into. We want to hear about what your business is and how you're using it
Absolutely.
and what's happening with it and what problem does your business solve.
Mm. Well, a lot of people have heard about using the Gen AI, like or the Chat GPT, to do the copywriting, which we do as well. So we use it to do the social media posts, blog, and even email, etc. Now we do that, and everyone has heard of that. But what I am about to share with everyone today, and that is what we do at Engage AI, is a little bit different. It's a little bit different. We focus on using it to do prospecting, especially on the professional social media platform LinkedIn. So what does it mean? Now take a step back before I go on. So before I start Engage AI, I said that I came back to consulting business, providing data and AI consulting services to other enterprise. One of the way that I realized that I can capture the attention of my prospect is if they post content, and if whenever they post content, and if I am there to consistently engage with them, it's much easier for me to keep myself on top of their mind, because every time when they post, I am always there to engage. But when I was engaging, I don't just say things like, thank you for sharing, great post, or I love it. I say a lot more, try to add what they have said in there. And that's a better way than just sending them a cold email and say, hey, Phil, let's go out for coffee, or sending them messages. Hey, Phil, I'm in town today. Are you free for coffee, or let's catch up? Because everyone is busy, but you still have to figure out a way to stay on top of mind, right? So that is what Engage AI do right now. We'll talk a bit about more about his bigger vision later, but what Engage AI right now do is once you have installed the software on the browser, we also have mobile app, things like that. But once you have installed the software, as soon as you choose the tone, so you can choose the tone like friendly, disagree, asking question, or even you can write your own custom tone, we will then go and figure out that particular post that you are trying to engage. We'll figure out its content, and then we'll put the two things together, the content and the tone that you have chosen, and we'll figure out and provide you a contextual reply right inside LinkedIn within the commenting box. But we don't post it there as just yet. We will let you to decide if that is good enough, so that you can remove part of it, you can delete some of it, or you can add your personal tone, personal touch of it. Or even if you know something that we do not know, you always have the chance to add more about it and modify about it before you press the button post. So Engage AI make it so much easier for you to say something insightful and engaging, because sometimes we have writer's block. Like for example, I
Oh
have been
yeah.
whole day out there for speaking and doing the lot of the work, but still I need to stay on top with my prospecting game. I still need to go out and engage with clients. So when I come back to my desk, sit there in front of the computer for 1 hour to do my work, but my brain is cooked. So as I'm scrolling through LinkedIn, sometimes I just need a bit of help. So with Engage AI, it gives you some idea. Okay, that is the thing that that's the angle I can consider talking about. And then I add my personal touch in there, or even I can make a bit of humor, a joke in there. So that is really helpful to keep it. But the other thing that I also say is very useful is, and this is probably where the people of marketing or salespeople cannot quite relate to. But a lot of the technical folks, not necessarily IT or computer science or engineering, but a lot of the folks, like for example, the background in accounting, background in finance, where they do all the technical work, they can relate to. Because when we finally start building our own business, we are good. We are naturally good, or we are good at what we do and what we don't, which is doing all of those technical work. But we just don't know how to engage with people. We just don't know how to deal with people. We just don't know how to say the right thing to the right people, right? That is where Engage AI can be so useful as well, because I could 10 years ago, I can't even speak to you like this. I have to go through series of learning, etc., just to be able to speak like this, right? Same thing, even with commenting. So that is how Engage AI could be useful as well.
So it's it's essentially speaking for me, engaging on my behalf.
Mm.
It's not looking for engagement for my posts. It's engaging on other people's posts from me.
That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah. And and you say that's part of prospecting. So what when you say prospecting, are we talking about looking for clients, or are we talking about looking for jobs? Or are we talking about, because LinkedIn essentially has always been about linking up to find jobs and building
Yeah.
and all that.
Well, arguably, people can use both because the job seeker, we all know that 50%, 60% of the job that are already have someone recruited before it even got to the advertising, the job board. And a lot of time going to the job board is equally challenging when you have 5 resumes, 5 people competing for the same job, right? So that's why finding the job is always best through the network and building the network. So we certainly have seen people using it to look for a job. We know that because I have interviewed and spoke to people like that using our software to do that. We are certainly not opposed people to do it. However, my focus is the SMB owner. Simply because SMB for job seeker, they probably spend 1 or 2 months in a year looking for a job. And after they got a job, they probably won't look for another job for at least another couple of years. And sometimes, a lot of time, they probably don't even use our product. That's why we focus on the SMB owner, because SMB owner, unlike job seeker, they have to constantly go out there to put themselves out there to look for new clients, to expand the services within the existing clientele as well. So finding a new client basically means that they have to go, like for example, in my consulting business, I have to go out and try to build relationship with some of the bank executive, with the insurance executive, in order to bring in the businesses. Now, a lot of those people I have never met before because they are outside of my network. So what is the best way for me to get to know them other than a warm intro by someone, or maybe meeting them at the conferences? LinkedIn is the best way to meet them, because LinkedIn tell me exactly who they are and what they do. So what I have to do then is get myself in front of them. But I don't do any of those things that other people do, which is basically connecting them using like an automated bot system. And then once we connected, they will automatically send those strict templated messages. Hey, Phil, great connect with you. See that you are a bank executive. Here's my calendar. Book a time on my calendar. We can chat. That's crazy. Phil, I to this day, I still think it's crazy, because the services that we provide in B2B, lots of time if it doesn't cost tens of thousands of dollars, it would cost thousands of dollars. No one in their right mind will say, well, this guy just connected with me and then he sent me a message to ask me to book a time on their calendar. Let's go and book a calendar and say, Jason, take my $10,000. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't do all of those things. So my way of doing that seems to work really, really well is just commenting, engaging with them. And you know how I pick up that trick? You wouldn't be surprised where I pick it up. I pick it up from Twitter. I pick
From
it
where?
up from Twitter, X.com. So
Oh,
Elon renamed it to X.com now. But basically, a lot of those venture capitalists were saying that, you know what, just send me cold email. Engage with me. Say something meaningful. Add something to whatever that I was tweeting. Engage with them. That's how you get their attention. So if the startup is already using that technique to get the attention of the VC to get funding, it's exactly the same thing that SMB owner can get the attention of the bank executive to start a conversation.
and so it's only works on LinkedIn.
At the moment, it only works on LinkedIn. We have a lot of requests going to Facebook, Instagram, or even Twitter. But Twitter is a dark universe. I'm a bit nervous to go there. So no offense to Elon, but I just felt that my target user or their SMB owner, they are more on LinkedIn. And there's so much we are doing over there on LinkedIn. It's keeping us busy now. So only on LinkedIn at this stage.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how many users did you've grown pretty quickly over the last?
Yeah, so without any marketing professional and budget, we have grown to have 50,000 users right now. So we launched in early January last year. We have got about 50,000 users. Yeah.
What did you do to get them? How did you outreach to them? Did it just word of mouth or?
Well, number one is certainly word of the mouth. Word of mouth. So we were the first in the markets, and then we also do a lot of integration with other CRM and also things like Zapier or Make.com. So at one point, Zapier, the connector of the API, even tweeted that top 10 AI tools on Zapier, and we were one of them.
What about
When they
Zoho?
make
You integrate with Zoho?
we do integrate with Zoho as well. We integrate with HubSpot as well. We were going to integrate with Salesforce as well, but it was a bit of challenge and it's a bit expensive. So we decided to pull out last minute and focus on other things. But a lot of words about affiliate marketing, so that a lot of people talk about us. But one of the way that we got off our food in the very first month is actually what I call eating our own dog food. Basically, we were using our tool to go commenting on other people and make sure that it is interesting enough so that they will click on the profile of who made that comment to come and check out the profile. And then as soon as they get there to that profile, we have a lead magnet sitting in the profile waiting for them. So it would be like, hey, get this tool for free or whatever to build up your LinkedIn game. So the lead magnet is sitting there. So basically, we have basically I have this LinkedIn profile, and I outright say that it's not a real profile, is not a real person, and the photo is not a real person as well. Instead, we say, well, I am an AI. I'm not a real person. So use me at your services. Just don't tell LinkedIn. And when we go use that profile to go and commenting on other people, we always use the funny tone just to make sure to make it interesting and funny and humorous without insulting anyone. But a lot of time, those sort of comments will just get a bit of laugh from people.
Yeah.
And people will be wondering, right, what the hell is this thing?
Yeah,
Because a lot of people are just treating LinkedIn so seriously that they wouldn't just even laugh. So when they see something funny, they just go and check out this LinkedIn profile, and then the lead magnet is sitting there waiting for them to go and figure out our website.
Yeah.
So that is how we got started. But that's one thing that I would also share over here is that we do slightly different is, and this is really the strategy for a lot of the startup, maybe not so much for the SMB owner. So for SMB owner, a lot of time they are providing professional services, right? So their target audience is the SVP of the bank, SVP of the insurance, or whatever the large enterprise. For a lot of those folks, you want to build one-on-one relationships because the return on investment is worth it, where they could then sell the services that cost tens or twenties of thousands of dollars per month. So the return of ROI is so worth. However, for our product, which is only $30 per month, we can't afford to spend the time directly on the SMB owner, because it basically means I have to do at least 10,000 of them using this technique or strategy. I need to do like 10 or 20,000 of them per month. And it is impossible, humanly impossible for us to be able to do it. One thing that I do know for sure though, is that all of them are exactly like me, where we follow the SVP of the bank like a hawk.
Yeah.
So if you are selling the product or service, you're selling the product or services that only cost $10, $20, or $30, or even around $100 a month, rather than commenting directly on your prospect to get their attention, you would want to comment on the prospect of your prospect. So in other words, I still go on and commenting on the SVP of the bank when I was selling the Engage AI, simply because I know that when I comment on the SVP of the bank, I would have thousands of SMB owners who provide professional services see the comment and then subsequently find me. And that's how we built our very first few thousand of user.
That's interesting. It's good. It's an interesting way of going about it.
Yeah. Phil, one thing that I have learned about marketing is I didn't come from the marketing background, or nor did I have a degree in marketing. The only thing that I picked up all of this year about marketing is be in front of the right people at the right time with the right messaging.
Yeah,
that is what I'm really trying to do.
Key to marketing. Key to marketing. If you can do that, and if you can accomplish that, then it's great. Yeah.
At an efficient cost.
Sometimes that's a bit of a challenge, but what it comes down to be honest, if you have a commodity product, if you have something that everybody has seen before, and you are trying to market it, it gets very boring, right? If you're going out there, let's say if you have a physical product, let's say you created a new tomato sauce, nobody cares. There's a million tomato sauces out there. And so it's really hard to get efficient by marketing that product. It's very hard to come out with, unless you have some hero ingredient that's going to change the world. When you come out with something unique that nobody's seen before, it's a lot easier to get traction and to get people to buy your product and to market it at an efficient rate. Unfortunately, people don't understand that. They look at what other brands are doing and they think that they can get there, but those other brands are already there, or maybe those other brands are bigger, and there's a million other reasons, but it's really a challenge, especially getting it at an efficient cost, because getting it at an efficient cost today, you have to be very innovative.
Exactly. Especially in professional services businesses as well. I mean, we are in the sea of sameness, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like it or not, I will admit to you that my consulting, my data and AI consulting business is in the sea, say in the sea of the sameness, like very many other people, other company. Not only I had to compete with many other company providing the same services, I actually also have to compete with a lot of the contractors as well.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so important to find a way to get the attention of your prospect and your client, to know your assistant and to keep yourself on top of their mind, including the existing client. Like, for example, the people who have already bought from you, how do you keep them to think of you
Yeah.
all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a marketing is a constant. Even once you've gotten a client, just like you said, even once you've gotten a client, you're still marketing. You still want to make sure that you deliver and that they have a good positive experience so that they can tell their
Exactly.
friends. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we've done most of our growth in our business from word of mouth, from people
Right.
recommending us because of what we've done in the past. And it's but even when I was in the skincare business, I was in the shaving business. We have a SaaS product that we marketed, and it's very difficult. Marketing is one of the most difficult things, and you have to be innovative and you have to think outside the box. I know that's a term that everybody uses, but you really have to think differently in order to get your brand out there. Because if you don't, then you're right. You're in a sea of sameness, and you're just making ads and spending money that may not return.
100%. One thing that I so echo with that, and I just want to repeat that, especially for my engineering folks, is it's so much easier. It's so much cheaper to build a product this day compared to 20 years ago. I still
Oh yeah,
remember I spent like north of $50,000 out, so getting a few developer offshore to build a digital marketplace for bicycle product. But you know what? This day it probably doesn't even cost more than $5,000 to be able to do that.
well, I'll do you one better.
Exactly.
We
But
won,
at the same time, the
but I'll do.
challenges of that is marketing, because marketing is not only marketing is becoming harder and harder because there are just so many businesses and products are created to compete for the attention. It become a lot more costly as well. So if you are a founder coming from the engineering background, technical background, really this is the message for you. Don't try to build a product and then think that the people will come when you launch it.
Yeah.
You have to start thinking about how to sell it from day zero, and how can you sell it effectively and efficiently.
Well, I'll do you one better. We built a website back in 1998, our first website to sell on e-commerce, and there was
Yeah.
no Google advertising. There was none of that, and it was all really based around whether or not you had a good URL. But the reality was, it cost us over $100,000 to build that first
Yeah.
website. Today, you can get a Shopify site up and running for, a couple $100 and
Exactly.
do it yourself practically. But you're right, you're going to spend a ton of money marketing. It's all
Correct.
about, and you have to come up with something unique to break through the clutter. I think that
Correct.
the use of video and the channels that we have today for video are in some ways making it easier, because you can do some things with video that will catch a consumer's eye or an end user's eye
Mm.
better than a static image or written content, right? Nobody wants to read anymore. And so video, I think, is helping, and the cost of producing video is just dropping dramatically, and editing video, and there we use a lot of AI tools to edit video and to cut up,
Totally.
but so in some ways I think that the tools are becoming less expensive, but
Exactly.
it's the creativity that is difficult. You have to think,
Exactly. Exactly. Not only the creativity is difficult, but it has to be done in so many different perspectives as well, i.e., the channel, the outlet, and also the way of running it, and how what is the messages and how creativity you go put in to capture the attention and efficiently.
so your target market essentially is, if I am a service provider, I have a SaaS product, or I have
Mm.
um, or I'm a coach or something, and I'm working on LinkedIn trying to find other clients. I'm buying your product to engage, and you're saying that by engaging on LinkedIn with your target customers, with your target clients, with your prospects, that's going to help close the deal. Is that right?
That is correct. So if you are in the business of providing the professional services, like for example, recruitment, uh, accounting works,
Marketing.
engineering, yeah, marketing as well, data analytic, then LinkedIn is your perfect place to be. And we are the perfect tool to use as well, because to provide a really good comment, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to come out one. If you don't want to say thank you for sharing a good post like any other people, or even just a fire emoji, you have to read the content and come out something uniquely
Yeah.
meaningful or interesting to
Yeah.
capture their
No, you're
attention.
right.
Because Phil, no one is going to see my comment saying thank you for sharing, and you would say, "Oh my God, Jason Tan is a genius. He said thank you for sharing. I have to look up to him and see who he is." Right? It doesn't happen that way. You
Yeah.
have to say something a lot more than that,
Yeah.
and it takes about 5 to 10 minutes. 5 minutes to come out to read the content, another 5 minutes to say something completely unique and insightful. And then when you do that again over and over again, Google say we'll need about 11 touch points. So if you think
Yeah.
about doing 11 touch points on commenting just to break the eye, that's about 110 minutes. So that is about 2 hours just to get their attention.
Yeah.
With Engage AI, you can do those 11 touch points less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That is one. And I tell you what, Phil, one another thing that I have learned after all of the failure is that it's really trying to come down to the human nature, understanding the
Yeah.
human nature. And you know why? And why commenting work? Because ultimately, we all want to feel special.
Oh, sure.
No one, no one in this world create content and put it out there will want no engagement and will want no attention.
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. 100%. You're right. People want to be, when you put a post up, you want people to engage with it.
Mhm.
And, uh, and you want them to at least put some effort into their comment so that it's meaningful. So
Exactly.
you're right. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting. I'm going to have to take a look at it. I'm going to have to take a look at your, I'm gonna take a look at your product deeply.
Thank you, thank you. Really, that's why I'm saying why commenting work. If you look at it from the psychological perspective, really, when we are commenting again and again and again and again, and we are always there first to show up, what we are really doing is we are there to make them feeling special.
Yeah. You're right. We are. We have about 4 minutes left. So, um, if, what would you like to sum up? What would you like to? What message would you like to leave Where can people find you? How can they get in touch with you? Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. I would quickly say two things to sum up about the Engage AI very quickly. There's another thing that we do very differently on Engage AI that LinkedIn doesn't, many other people do not do. LinkedIn newsfeed is a mess.
LinkedIn what?
Newsfeed, when you go to LinkedIn, the newsfeed that you see is a mess. They
Yeah.
don't show you
Yeah.
the people that you want to see.
Yeah.
I have about 11,000 connection or follower, but to be honest with you, the only number of the people that I care at any given time is only just about 100 people. Only
Okay.
just about 100 people, and a lot of time I have to go and find those people to see whether they have made a new post or not, so that I can engage with them. It takes a lot of time. So with Engage AI, if you tell us exactly who are those people, we will monitor them every single day and then bring their content back to our platform. Within a single screen, you can see all exactly the people that you care about and what other content that they have created and posted. So you can just decide who to engage right away from there by clicking the button. So that saves you even more time and make you more efficient, because the reality is in the professional services business, when you have a few clients and you have a few people in your team, you're already busy servicing with the client, but we all know you still have to go out and prospect or stay on top of mind of your existing client. You don't have time to scroll endlessly on LinkedIn. You just want to get the job done, right? So
Yeah.
that is where the monitoring comes into the picture. We bring all of them into a single screen. You can just decide and take in from there. Saves you so much more time. People can find me on LinkedIn, or they can find me on the website called engage-ai.co. So otherwise, if you search Engage AI Chrome extension, you will see me right on the top. My final messages for anyone who is listening and watching this show on live in the TV: consulting business, professional services, SMB services, SMB are not easy, are tough, and I can relate to it. And that is so many other ways that to advertise and market your business. And you just have to think about how can you do it creatively and
Yeah.
innovatively and efficiently. LinkedIn is good, not because of my product, but LinkedIn is good because LinkedIn tell you exactly who they are, what they have been doing, and what interests them. Especially those folks who post a lot, that your target prospect who post a lot. I mean, I think the hardest thing, whenever I try to contact someone, is the first sentence. What is the first sentence to write? I can't just say, hey, let's go out for coffee, or hey, let's buy my services. That's hard.
Yeah.
First sentence is to talk about them. And if they are already posting content, why you are not using that to your advantage to
Yeah.
talk about something that they already talk about?
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Well, thank you so much, Phil. I hope that has been very helpful for the folks in the businesses.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for being on, and thanks for taking the time all the way from Australia. I think it's interesting. I think the product is interesting. Like I said, I'm going to have to look into it for myself to see. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Um, yeah, I think it's interesting. I think AI in general is pretty interesting, and what people are doing with it. Generative AI, what we talked about before, which is it's making things easier. And
Mhm.
there's things that we do with it, and like you said, sometimes you run out of ideas, or you run out of thinking, and
Mm,
we use a couple of products. We use a couple of products just to generate ideas sometimes, because we have so many
exactly.
different we
Yeah.
have so many different clients. We go from food to furniture to fashion to you know products to SaaS products. So anyway, um, it's yeah, very interesting. Thanks for being on. Thanks for taking the time. I've got to do a few closings, and I've got to run some videos. So it was a pleasure having you on, and thanks for explaining everything to us. And I think your product is interesting. So we'll talk again.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thanks, and
Bye,
you have a
all.
good day. Bye.
You too.
Hey, thanks for that was a great it was a great show. I enjoyed talking to him, and I enjoy the product. It's interesting what's happening with all these. We've had a few AI products on, people that are developing AI, and I really think that some of these are making jobs easier, right? Prospecting is really difficult, especially if you're a small to medium sized business. We have a lot of entrepreneurs that are solopreneurs, that are specialists or consultants, and they're out looking for ways to engage. So this product sounds interesting to me, but AI in general is interesting to me. So okay, got to wrap things up. We're pretty close to the end. We ran a little bit over, and next week we're going to talk next week a little bit more about PR and using PR to get your brand noticed. We're going to talk in the next couple of weeks. We've got some people coming on that are building AI products to produce videos and produce content, not just make comments on the content, but and then we've got some great entrepreneurs coming up that have built some really good e-commerce businesses, which that's always been my specialty is e-commerce. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you got a lot out of that. I think Jason was a great guest. I think he did a pretty good job of explaining his business. But yeah, I think it was a good show. And so thanks for tuning in tonight, and hope to see you next week. Thanks again.